You know what's wild? We complain about dating apps today, right? Oh, he doesn't text back. She's got weird hobbies. He still lives with his mom. But imagine if your dating pool was literally just your cousins, political pawns, and occasionally, a corpse. Yeah, we're going there. Welcome to the absolutely unhinged world of royal marriages, where love was optional, sanity was negotiable, and apparently, being alive wasn't always a requirement. Buckle up, because today we're diving into the most bizarre royal marriages that make your worst Tinder date look like a fairy tale. Let's start with a classic that really sets the tone for how messed up this whole thing gets. We're talking about Joanna of Castile, also known as Juana la Loca or Joanna the Mad. Now, this woman married Philip the Handsome in 1496, and let me tell you, the guy lived up to his name. Problem was, Philip died in 1506, and Joanna just couldn't let go. And I mean that literally. She refused to bury him, and instead traveled around Spain with his coffin for 3 years. 3 years, people! She'd open the casket regularly to kiss his corpse and talk to him like he was just having a really long nap. Now I know we all have that ex we can't get over, but this is taking till death do us part to a whole new level of commitment issues. But wait, it gets weirder, because at least Joanna married a living person first. Let's talk about Pedro, the Cruel of Castile, who in 1353 decided to marry his mistress, Maria de Padilla, posthumously. Yeah, you heard that right. This absolute madman declared that he had secretly married his dead lover, making their children legitimate heirs. Imagine explaining that family tree at a dinner party. Oh, your parents met at college? Cool, cool. Mine met when one of them was decomposing. The Spanish really had some interesting takes on romance, didn't they? Now, if you think marrying dead people is the peak of royal weirdness, hold on to your crowns, because we're about to meet Caligula. This Roman emperor took the concept of keeping it in the family to Olympic levels. Not only did he allegedly marry his sister Drusilla, but when she died, he declared her a goddess and made it illegal for anyone to mention her death. Then, because apparently one sister wife wasn't enough, he supposedly married his other sister too. Modern Alabama could never. The guy literally turned incest into a religious experience, which is probably the most Roman thing ever, honestly. Speaking of family reunions that went too far, let's cruise over to ancient Egypt, where the Ptolemaic dynasty turned inbreeding into an art form. Cleopatra VII. Yes, the Cleopatra married both of her younger brothers. And this wasn't unusual. This was Tuesday in the Ptolemaic family. They were so committed to keeping the bloodline pure that their family tree looked more like a telephone pole. The genetic lottery in that family must have been absolutely wild. Congratulations. You've inherited the throne, a receding hairline, and 17 different chromosomal abnormalities. But let's jump forward to medieval Europe, where things got creative in entirely different ways. Take Childeric III, the last Merovingian king of France, who in 751 was forced to marry a nun, not a former nun, an active, habit-wearing vow of chastity-taking nun. The poor woman had to choose between eternal damnation and political marriage, which honestly sounds like a typical Tuesday for medieval women. Imagine that wedding ceremony. Do you take this woman? Well, technically God already did, but sure, I guess we're doing this. Now, here's where it gets really spicy. Ivan the Terrible of Russia, and spoiler alert, the nickname was well earned, went through wives like a medieval Henry VIII on steroids. His first wife died mysteriously. His second wife also died mysteriously. And by the time he got to wife number 7, people were starting to notice a pattern. But the truly bizarre part? He married his 7th wife when he was 53 and she was 22, which by royal standards was practically a normal age gap. But then he died literally weeks after the wedding. The poor girl basically married a death certificate with a crown. Let's not forget about Emperor Nero, who decided that if you can't find the perfect spouse, you just make one. After killing his second wife in a fit of rage, he found a young man named Sporus, who resembled her, had him castrated, dressed him in women's clothes, and married him in a full public ceremony. The Roman Senate was probably sitting there like, okay, we've seen some stuff, but this is new even for us. Nero literally said, you know what? I'll just create my ideal partner through surgery and psychological trauma. Ancient Rome's answer to extreme makeover, royal edition. But perhaps the most bizarre has to be King Pedro I of Portugal, who fell so madly in love with Inesta Castro that even after his father had her murdered to prevent their marriage, Pedro still married her corpse and made his court kiss her decomposing hand as their new queen. The man literally crowned a dead woman and made everyone bow to her. Talk about making a statement about your relationship status. It's complicated. Doesn't even begin to cover it. And then there's the absolute legend that is Emperor Caligula again, because this man was committed to being the weirdest person in any room. Not satisfied with marrying his sisters, he also married his horse, Incitatus, and made it a consul. Yes, a horse held political office in the Roman Empire. Imagine being a Roman senator and having to ask a horse for its opinion on tax policy. Senator Incitatus, what are your thoughts on the grain subsidies? Asterisk horse nays asterisk. Brilliant insight, as always. The thing is, when you look at all these marriages, you realize they weren't really about love or even compatibility. They were about power, politics, and sometimes just pure insanity. These people had unlimited resources and absolute authority, and somehow decided that the best use of both was to marry their relatives, dead people, and livestock. It really puts your own relationship problems into perspective, doesn't it? Your partner leaves dishes in the sink? Well, at least they're not your sibling. They don't text back quickly. At least they're breathing. So the next time you're swiping through dating apps complaining about how hard it is to find someone normal, just remember these royal train wrecks. At least your worst date didn't involve necromancy, incest, or explaining to your friends why your new boyfriend is a horse. Sometimes being a commoner really is winning the lottery. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new videos with more historical disasters that make your life look absolutely fantastic by comparison. Let me know in the comments, which of these marriages made you question humanity the most? Because honestly, I'm still processing the horse thing.